There we go. There we go. Yes, check out microphone. Tester 1 or 2. Okay. Alrighty, how's it going, everybody? I want to talk about gear and where do I get my gear? Because a lot of people that watch me probably do wonder, you got a lot of gear. Are your pockets fat and deep? Not really, no. This comes from a lot of saving, working, saving, working, saving, and and the best one of all, bargain shopping. I tried to jump on, there is a good deal on something and I happen to have the money for it, I get it. With that being said, now, I was watching a couple of channels and, and there happened to be some people's complaints with whether it's Behringer, or maybe Pro Tools, or why people switch from one DAW to another, or it may be people's bad experience with like Guitar Center or Sweetwater or any, whatever the case. Now, for me, and this is just my personal experience with, first of all, I'm going to talk about places where I get my gear. The only bad experiences I've ever had was from private buyers, or not private buyers, private sellers. That's about it. That's pretty much it. And I don't have too many problems with people selling their stuff. And most of the places that people sell privately would be eBay and Reverb. I find myself now, when it comes to, this is basically where I think I get the best deals. When it comes to gear itself, whether it's a microphone preamp, a microphone, some speakers or whatever, I look at Reverb as my number one place to get used gear. The second place that I look is for like Gear Exchange, which is basically Sweetwater's, used gear place. And then of course eBay. For the most part, when it comes to eBay, I now mainly I don't buy a lot of gear from eBay anymore. I still buy some gear from eBay, but not as much as I used to when it comes to studio gear. I buy more like cables, microphone cables. Reason being, the only other place I buy cables from other than eBay would be like Sweetwater. I hardly ever buy cables from like Guitar Center / Musicians Friends. Now, the places that I do get gear would either be Musicians Friends, which is the online website for Guitar Center, or Sweetwater, or Reverb, and every now and then eBay, and even sometimes Amazon. So, that's pretty much it as far as places that I get when I'm looking for gear. Reverb has really grown big time. So Reverb is probably my number one source for looking at finding gear. because Reverb is one of those places where people, let's say you were in the market for a large format vintage console, Reverb is going to be one of them few places that you can actually find something to that equate on Reverb more than any other place. Now, I bought a couple of things from Vintage King, but I don't buy a whole lot of stuff from Vintage King because Vintage King their market is more toward the commercial studio market. People that are into spending big money in a commercial, even though you can, as a home studio user, get their gear, from Vintage King, because they'll sell it. They have an online website. You can buy and order, and they'll ship it. But my number one choice has always been Reverb. It used to be eBay, but now it's grown to Reverb. Now, I'm going to say this. There are some people on YouTube that have some bad experience with like going to Guitar Center as an example. Me, I mainly go to the Guitar Center in Nashville because that's the closest Guitar Center from where I live. So I usually go to the Guitar Center in Nashville. But I also go to Sam Ash Music in Nashville because Sam Ash Music is, I like Sam Ash music store, and I like the interaction that you get from the employees when you walk in the store, and you get this warm. And not saying they don't do that at Guitar Center but see, a lot of times at Guitar Center, it feels more like salesman type of approach. It's like when you walk on a used car lot or a car lot, and you're looking at a car, and all of a sudden the salesman come up with the old, everyone knows what I'm talking about, the old, hi, and yeah, she's a beauty, isn't she right for you, that car's, that kind of. And I'm not saying all the Guitar Center employees act like that. Some of them come in, they actually generally want to know if you got any questions. But then there are some points where there can be some Guitar Center employees that might see you and they don't even pay you no attention. But you got to look at Guitar Center as the nature of not everyone that they hire. Like, everyone could put on a front when they're doing the job interview. Oh man, this job would be great for me. The whole, when they go, you interview for a job, and they ask you all the questions like, why should we hire you? What make you a great fit? Oh, because I'm great with working with people, and I got experience with equipment. But the whole process of when you ask questions in a job interview. But a lot of times, what happens is the real person, once they got in the job. Because most jobs, most jobs aren't going to fire people on the spot because they just don't have that great of interpersonal skills with people. They just do not. You have to really do some crazy stuff like stealing stuff, stealing money, stealing gear or whatever for them to fire you. Or just being straight up, blatantly disrespectful and blatantly, oblivious or whatever. Whatever words I'm looking for, against customers or whatever. But for the most part, you're not going to be reprimanded because you didn't smile at a customer. Sam Ash, like every store can have that kind of employee, one or two. That's just the business of retail. But Sam Ash, I like Sam Ash. I like how open it feels. When I go to Guitar Center feels more cluttered to me. The shelves are a lot closer together. They usually have gear it feels a little bit more cluttered. Sam Ash Music feels a lot more spaced out. It's like you got some breathing room when you walk into Sam Ash. So that's why I like Sam Ash Music. I just wish there were way more Sam Ash Music stores. There used to be, just like there used to be Mars Music. Mars Music had almost like that Sam Ash type of feel to it, but Mars Music kind of, But Guitar Center, when I go to Guitar Center, I've never had any bad experience with when deal with employees. When you go up to an employee and they say, hey, is there anything I can help you with, or do you need? And I'll say I need this. Okay, we'll look it up and see if we got it. If not, we'll see if we can order, whatever the case. But I've never had a bad experience at Guitar Center. So I don't know why sometimes people will make videos because they had a bad experience at a certain place. It's like I always look at it like this when it comes to think about it like you go to, let's say, for example, Freddy's Burger, or let's say you went to Steak and Shake and you ate a burger and it wasn't good. The fries weren't good, the burger wasn't good. I'm not going to rule out every Steak and Shake because the burger wasn't that great or the fries, whatever. I'm just going to blame it on the cook that was cooking it at that particular establishment, because if I go to other places and the Steak and Shake and get a burger and fries and the burger and fries were good, that just tells me it was that cook at that location. And I know not to go to that particular one. And that could be anyone. That could be McDonald's, that could be Burger King, that could be any restaurant, because it's still people making the food. So I kind of look at it like that with being with Guitar Center and any other place. Now, I can say this. I like Sweetwater as well. But with Sweetwater, they can be a little bit more pricier. The prices can be a little bit higher. So that you have to take that in mind. But my sales rep emails me, and sends me, because it's coming. At Sweetwater, they assign you a sales rep. So for that very reason, when it comes to Sweetwater, I buy certain things like, I'll buy, I don't buy a ton of stuff from Sweetwater. Maybe, I usually get some cables. I'll get some patch bays, some, things like that. Maybe some microphone stands, things like that from Sweetwater, because they do have a pretty good, their shipping, they usually get stuff shipped off to you pretty darn fast. Guitar Center, what I like about going to Guitar Center is, here's one thing, and I know we're in the age of you buying things online and the stuff is being shipped to your house. Here's the negative side to that. When you buy stuff online, one, you can't physically touch it. You don't get it right then and there. You have to wait for it to be shipped. You have to wait on a tracking. And then on top of that, a lot of times when you do have stuff shipped to your house, depending on wherever you live, some people almost have to dang near be at home. And the thing that sucks about that is most of the time we don't know when the FedEx or the post office person or the UPS or the DHL or even Amazon delivered drivers are going to show up at the house. Now Amazon they come up with this tracking system to let you know that, which is pretty good, and they'll let you know what order, when your package is coming, what order it's coming, and about what time it's going to get there. So that's gotten better. But for the most part, that's what sucks. So you're sitting, most of the time, especially if someone sends something where it requires to be, for you to sign for it. And most of us, you hope that you don't have to sign for it, because if you're not there, most of the time they're not going to leave the package. They're going to take it back. They got to leave you a card, and you got to catch them the next day, or go down to find a place, go to the place to pick it up, or whatever the case may be. Or you go online and change the delivery options for them to leave it, or whatever the case. You have to do that. I would say out of all the places that deliver that don't have the best delivery system to me would be the post office. The post office is great at delivering mail, junk mail, but when it comes to package delivery, they're not the best. And their tracking system's not that great to me. And sometimes UPS can be kind of iffy on their tracking system. The one thing I hate is when someone says, it'll send you a notice saying your item's been shipped, your items are shipped, your item's being shipped or shipping, and send you a email notice, and you look at email notice. Then when you look at it, you click on, the tracking number, and it'll say something like shipping label has been created, not in the hands of the UPS or FedEx or post office, whatever. I'm like, I hate when I get the notification, because then you don't know the date that is expected to come, and then there might be delays depending on the weather or whatever the case may be. So that's the only downside to that about shipping, buying stuff online and having it shipped. A lot of times you want to try to get it home to intercept the package, because there are porch pirate thieves. It's worse than ever now. Thank goodness I live in a neighborhood that really isn't happening, but that's not the case for everyone, especially that watch my channel. People that watch my channel, they know what I'm talking about people coming up and just seeing packages on porches and they run up and steal them. Most of them are just knucklehead teenagers. But there are some people as old as 40 and 50 and 60 year old, just like with this, I don't even want to get started on the, I don't know what this coming in and rushing a jewelry store and breaking the glass and stealing and then running off with I don't even get that. But these people are they're gonna see what happens unless people start doing these grab, what they call it, grab and snatch and run type of tactics, putting the thing over your, putting the thing like that and you covering your face up, and you run in there and you smash and grab stuff and and run out the store like they're doing in I'm just gonna grab up clothes and shoes out of the department store and run out the mall or whatever. What's gonna happen is a lot of these people are gonna start ending up getting killed. They're gonna start getting shot. And people want to come up in arms and an uproar when people do that. They shut. When I hate when people ignore. I don't care if it's a black person, white person, Latino, whatever. The people want to be up in arms when let's say some teenage kid, let's say he's a black kid. He's 17 years old. Run in there and run into his convenience store or whatever, or jewelry store or department store, and I'm just gonna steal stuff and run out the store. And then when they end up shop, then everyone want to be all up in arms. But yet they'll never look at is the kid even. They want to ignore the fact that the kid was stealing. But yeah, that's a different video. So, to sum up, this is just my experiences with Guitar Center and Sweetwater and all that, and Vintage King and Reverb. Overall, like I said, the only really bad experiences for me have been just a few sellers. That's about it. And they really wasn't really necessarily bad experiences, just that most of the time it was more or less them taking forever to ship it, and then when it's shipped, it taking forever to be delivered. That's about it. Other than that, now as far as what else I was gonna say, whatever, whether it's Behringer or Pro Tools or whatever. Like for Pro Tools, I know there are a lot of people that are Pro Tools users, but I never really could get into being Pro Tools. Not when I realized that you can get the exact same results out of Studio One, Reaper, Ableton Live, and every other DAW out there. But there are some people that are going to defend Pro Tools because in their mind, they invested all this money into Pro Tools and they don't want to feel that they wasted their money. But I find it hilarious to me when you got someone who's a hardcore Pro Tools user and say, yeah, it's the #1 best DAW ever. When really, like, I've been doing everything in Cakewalk and Studio One. And it's like, in the end, when it comes to musically, you think that the audience, meaning the people that listen and buy and are a fan of your music or a fan of certain artists, even know that Pro Tools was used in the equation? Not even. Yet alone, they can't tell if it was Pro Tools, Reason, FL Studio, Reaper, Cakewalk, Studio One, Ableton Live, Mixcraft 9, Cubase. They just can't. They don't know the DAW. They don't know the plugins. Yet there are a lot of people that will defend Pro Tools and UAD plugins or whatever, or Reaper and Soft Toy plugins, or Reason or an Isotope or whatever plugin, Waves, Slate, Acoustica Audio, IK Multimedia. It just goes on and on and on. So, but I want to, like I said, wrap it up because there's 20 something minutes. Going back to my experiences with when it comes to buying gear. I really, like I said, I've seen people that are making videos about their bad experiences with Guitar Center. I haven't had that. The people at Guitar Center were friendly, just like the people at Vintage Audio, Vintage King, Sam Ash, Sweetwater. Every business I ever dealt with, everyone has been professional. I've never had any issues with the gear that I was buying from those places. So it does make me wonder if people are having these bad experiences. You ever had that saying that when you point the finger at someone, you got 3 fingers pointing back at you? That's another way of saying you might want to take a look at yourself. And how are you coming across? Are you coming across entitled, demanding? And if you don't get your way, are you disrespectful? Because I've seen people, even people that come to my job, I've seen people come in there and I've been shopping here for years and I deserve priority. I deserve priority. Treatment because I bought thousands of thousands, and I'm looking at, like you and about 1 million other people have spent thousands and thousands of dollars at this establishment. So a lot of times there are people that come in, they go to places and they think because they spend money, they automatically deserve priority, preferential treatment. And if they don't get it, then they're up in arms. And that's an entitlement mentality. Now, I'm not making any accusations saying people are doing that, because once again, there are people that get hired at certain places that can be, there will be some people that will that get hired at these places that shouldn't be working there. That's everywhere. I don't care where you go, what place you're at. That's everywhere. There's always an occasional employee that shouldn't be an employee. But I'm making this video because I'm making a video. Where do I get my gear, and my experiences at where I get the gear I buy. And I've had absolutely no issue. Oh, plus I forgot to mention other places I get, like pawn shops. I still go to pawn shops to see what I can find occasionally at a pawn shop, because people also pawn their gear, and I'm talking about some expensive gear at a pawn shop. And so every now and then I'll even frequent at a pawn shop to see if I can find. I always go to the music section to see if there's a guitar or an instrument. Maybe there's a microphone, maybe an interface, some studio speakers. You'll be amazed what you see at a pawn shop. And now pawn shops are hit or miss when it comes to how, because pawn shops are always trying to get top dollar for selling the stuff, but they want to lowball you to the bottom where they don't want to give you nothing for if you're there to sell some gear there. They don't want to give you nothing for it. But then you turn around, they got it, trying to sell it for like wherever the most expensive price, and then it just sits there, and I'll just come back 2, 3, 4 months later. They'll try, let's say it was $800. You'll sit there and never sells. Next, a couple months later, it's $650. A couple months later, now it's only $400. A couple months later, now it's $250. It's still there. Oh, it's still there. Okay, I'll give you $200 for it, and they'll give you they'll sell it for $200. Basically, what they gave the person when they initially bought, because they didn't make no money off of it, unless it does get sold. But that's what I'll do. I'll wait till I'll wait till it goes down and down till they ready. Just got no choice I'll take anything for it, because the longer it sits on them shelves in the pawn shops, the less they're making money off of it. So that's another place that I buy gear at. And because of that, that's how I was able to get everything I got. Reverb, pawn shops, Sweetwater, eBay, Amazon, Reverb, Musician's Friend, Guitar Center, all of them. So I hope I didn't bore y'all to death with this video. So other than that, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a great one.